Tambroni pushing the buttons in Happy Valley for 14 seasons now. Off and running, Luke Wierman gets the opening draw for Maryland in the white jerseys as they battle Penn State.
And it's interesting, Colby Baldwin, the freshman for Penn State, taking the face-off. Chase Mullins was sensational last weekend in a win against Rutgers, but I think they feel like Baldwin is the better matchup. Top side and whips it past Logan McNaney.
Wierman meets Baldwin again, and this time it's Colby Baldwin winning the draw. In the first go-round between these two, he was 2 of 7. DJ converts. It's a 2-0 advantage, and back to the face-off X we go. Baldwin winning it from Luke Wierman.
And we'll see Wierman at times. He did in the regular season meeting in Happy Valley. Will struggle early on, but no one is better at making adjustments as the game moves on. But you got to be impressed with Baldwin winning 2 out of the first 3.
Wierman had an assist in the first meeting with Maryland. There he gets a spectacular goal for Coach Tambroni. Battling off the draw, Wierman and Baldwin continue to go. Colby Baldwin has had all of the first quarter face-offs. Chase Mullins, we see 38 on the sideline in blue for Penn State.
Wonder if they're saving him, because when you go
good for Penn State.
It has been a terrific start for the Nittany Lions, but we've seen this before. That's unfortunate that players' sticks get tangled up. So they're going to go to a reface. This is one of the very rare situations that you'll have a redo at the face-off dot. It was uncanny. The sticks of Baldwin and Wierman just got interlocked and they couldn't dislodge.
They'll do it again. Wierman right out the front, right into the fast break. Wierman looks, feed it over the top, score! Maltz with an outside rip.
That's what number 52 in white can do to your defense, and that's the instant offense he provides for the Maryland Terrapins. The reface, thank you very much. Out the front door, he could shoot, so that's why you slide to number 52 in white. And he's barking at the Nittany Lion defense. Some emotion being showed by Luke Wierman, and Maltz gets to pick his spot and delivers a beautiful overhand bouncer past Frassian.
In 2 games against Penn State this season, Wierman now has 3 assists. Gets Maryland on the board in a ground ball, another face-off win for Wierman. Jack McDonald made sure of it coming off the wing.
Funny things happen to opponents when Wierman makes plays like that. He has that ability to really flip the script and get momentum on the side of his Terps big time.
He has the ball, dragging Baldwin with him back behind the cage, trying to create some offense. Out of the 6-on-6 does Wierman. He sent it high and wide.
What did John
to go, Mark, we showed graphically how fast Penn State has been starting against Maryland in the 2 games this season. That trend continues. Wierman battling for this draw along with Baldwin. Still fighting for it, and it comes up Penn State for Ryan O'Connor, the long stick midfielder.
And this, Joe, we've talked about it ad nauseum in our coverage of Penn State, Maryland throughout the years. We've seen this on many occasions. We saw it back
in his last 5 games. You wouldn't know it by that shot. Jeff Tambroni's squad out to a 6-1 lead. They had the first 3 of the game and the last 3 of the game. Wierman gets the draw for Maryland. Braden Erksa will slow the tempo. We'll go 6.
Been sublime for Johns Hopkins, but you got those 2. Frassian, the 2-time reigning specialist of the year, and McNaney, a national champion, All-American. Doesn't get much better than what we have between the pipes here tonight.
Maryland head coach John Tillman, I am sure, on the sideline telling his guys, hey, we've been here before. It's a similar script to the first regular season meeting between these two. Who will be the igniter in making the comeback? And on the other side, as Molliver feeds for Spanos, Coach Tambroni saying, hey, we left a lot on the table in that first half, the first go-round. He's saying to his men, step on it. Let's keep stepping on it.
And McNaney made saves. When Penn State got up 6-2.
Spanos fires, he scores! To stop the bleeding.
Right on cue. Big number 7, who made hustle plays in that first meeting on the Sunday night in State College, running the ball out of bounds, getting extra possessions for Maryland. This is exactly what the doctor ordered. Very unnecessary for Fracion to come out of his cage. Right there, he throws his rhythm off. And by the time he gets back in, you've got big number 7 with leverage down the alley. You can see how far Fracion was out because he had to get back in the cage, and Spanos just ate that up.
Spanos blanked in his last 2 games by Rutgers and by Johns Hopkins. Baldwin continues to be the man at the face-off dot for Penn State, and Colby Baldwin gets his boys in blue the ball here. 7-2 Nittany Lions, 9:40 away from the halftime break.
So this was a stage of the game in the first meeting where it was 6-2. McNaney started making saves, and they seemed benign at the time past McNaney.
3 different multi-goal scorers for Penn State already. Malone, Lehman, and Matt Costin. It's an 8-2 advantage and a ground ball for Ryan O'Connor. Subs coming in defensively for Maryland as Jake Morin has the rock for Penn State.
I love how Baldwin is kind of negating the wings for Maryland. With the velocity and the placement of that one, Penn State continues to roll heavy.
Goals in all 14 games for Costin. That's his 5th hat trick of the year. Maryland needs possessions. Wierman bumped. Baldwin on the push. It'll be Maryland ball. Terps tallies from Maltz and Spanos, and that's it so far. Penn State once again tattooing them in the first half, as they did at Panzer Stadium in Happy Valley, only to fall by game's end.
Yeah, and that's the history that Penn State, you can see the excitement and the support that he's getting from his teammates.
10-2, Donnelly, who scored in the Big Ten quarterfinal win over Rutgers, gets himself on the board and advances Penn State's lead. This to the point we were making with Coach Tambroni's comments to us during the week about, hey, we left
up by 9.
7 of the last 8 goals belong to the Nittany Lions. Violation here off the draw against Penn State with 2:25 to go in the opening half. Himself, he's picked up helpers. He's had assists in 3 of the last 4 weeks. Wierman gets control of the face-off. Time ticking, 4 seconds left. Wierman snaking his way to the goal, feeds for Spanos. The ball down as this first half comes to its end with Penn State in control. Johns Hopkins, Michael Boehm had 5 in a great come-from-behind effort. Maryland looking to try and duplicate something like that in this second half. They've already picked up 1 incredible come-from-behind win over Penn State earlier this season. And it was this man with the ball, Chorus, having it knocked out of his cross, who really ignited that comeback. His tricks are better in all of his Big Ten games this season, except for one against Ohio State. He's on the verge of a 40-goal campaign, as you can tell top of the screen. He has tallies in 47 straight. Good reason why he's the 2-time Big Ten off. Kelly had a couple of goals in the losing effort to Johns Hopkins in the regular season. He's got markers in 4 of his last 5, including that strike. Wierman looking to come up with it. It's a loose ball push against Penn State that will give the Terps the ball, dressed in white.
Well, this is where you need to be on edge for Penn State. The ability to make runs. Maryland has done that repeatedly.
Goal games this season for Maltz, 2 of them against Penn State. Off this draw, Wierman gets the better of Colby Baldwin, and the ball back for Maryland.
We talk about, we talk about the Big Ten and past Jack Fracion, and you take a look at the goal runs this season for Maryland. A little bit of spurtability. Look at the Penn State runs. 3 in 3 minutes and 15 seconds, 4 in just over 4 minutes, and they've scored now 3 in the last 50 seconds. The Nittany Lions are on watch right now for a Maryland run.
Interesting. Long stick midfielder Joe Scarfi just took that draw for Penn State.
So no Mullins as a little bit of a screen. And then he looks to the bench saying, come on, guys, let's go. Let's get it together. Let's make a run. And here's another look right there Fracion can't pick it up, and it gets roofed.
Kelly had a couple of goals in the losing effort to Johns Hopkins in the regular season. He's got markers in 4 of his last 5, including that strike. Wierman looking to come up with it. It's a loose ball push against Penn State that will give the Terps the ball, dressed in white.
Well, this is where you need to be on edge for Penn State. The ability to make runs. Maryland has done that repeatedly in Big Ten conference play in 2024. Penn State's got to hunker down and try to get this next stop.
Syracuse, a nice pass inside. There's no stopping Maltz.
Maltz makes this Maryland offense different when he's in the lineup and when he's relatively healthy. Such a great inside presence that can play the high slot, and he can go down lower. A little bit of early offense. Syracuse recognizes a crack in the Penn State defense. He decides to push, and then there's the nice little flash cut by number 37 in white. Pops open. Syracuse sees him. Nice little touch pass and finish from Daniel Maltz.
8 multi-goal games this season for Maltz, 2 of them against Penn State. Off this draw, Wierman gets the better of Colby Baldwin, and the ball back for Maryland.
We talk about, we talk about the Big Ten and where we think teams are headed NCAA tournament-wise, and then you have things like in the Big East where Villanova knocks off Denver in that conference semifinal.
Wierman just turned the corner. He's made it 3 in a row for the Terps.
Don't look down because you'll miss Luke Wierman. This is the spurt ability of this Maryland offense. Wierman stays on the field. John Tillman, offensive coordinator Mike Phipps, they have got all the confidence in the world off of number 52. Wins the face-off. Leisurely jog down the sideline, right? You're going to come out and play me? I've got the athleticism, I've got the strength, and I've got the ability to run by you. He just sets it up behind the cage. I mean, this is like an offensive player picking their spot, inverting, no slide, bouncer beats Fracion, and Maryland has hit 3 in a row in rapid succession.
3 goals in 50 seconds time. The Terps back within 6 in Columbus. Terps fired up watching Zappatello, a native of Portland, Oregon, going to work. Face-off down. Aldridge bothered on the sideline there by A.J. Larkin. It's on the sideline again and bounding out of play. The officials say it's Penn State ball.
I'm starting to see a little tightness in Penn State. It's a small sample size, but number 24, Kyle Aldridge, short arm.
A little bit better about themselves now. 4 different Nittany Lions with multi-goal performances. Face-off here, Baldwin and Wierman once again, and the possession will be awarded to Penn State.
Yeah, withholding.
Penn State back to doubling up Maryland, 14-7 now. Possession off the draw goes to the wing, Mark Sickler, short stick defensive midfielder. Sickler, who had a Logan McNaney shrinking on that short side, blew it right over his shoulder. Penn State challenged there briefly. Maryland made it a 12-6 game, and in the blink of an eye, it should be a big lacrosse day for Penn State. Should Jeff Tambroni's squad continue to hold this lead, they fashioned a huge second quarter, as you can tell, bottom of the screen, helping them to a 15-7 advantage after 3.
Can they weather the storm? Winner will advance to the Big Ten championship against Michigan. And you look at the women's side of Big Ten lacrosse, Joe, Northwestern, Maryland, Hopkins, Penn State, Michigan. I think that's a 5-bid league on the women's side.
Parnham hit up high there. That one rattled around his headgear. Ricochets back to midfield. Spanos trying to lower the boom on King. Syracuse avoids some hatchet work from O'Connor and Rock. Devastating score. Just ask Villanova. Just ask Cornell. He had 6 against Villanova. He had 7 against Cornell this season. Off this draw, possession is awarded to Maryland. The second-seeded Terps with a mark of 8-4. Trainer reaches the 40-goal plateau this season with that last strike. Maryland, a team that has had double-digit wins in 20 straight years. The Terps have 8 wins this season. Chorus, Trainer has the last 4 goals on the board for Penn State. Their lead now double figures. The 7th hat trick this season for Trainer.
Yeah, this is a situation with the way this game has gone tonight. Sterling Dervish delivers the goal. Highlight reel effort by number 7.
Hurdling all of his 6'5" to do so. Maryland gets the ball back. Possession for George Stamos. Just now 8 minutes remaining in the 4th. The deficit for Maryland is 9. Ben Johnson. As we hit the 4-minute mark left to play in this Big Ten semifinal, Penn State soon to roll into a Saturday night showdown against Michigan.
Yeah, can't wait for
Jordan on the season, 5 tallies, all of them singles. No goals on the board since mid-March. Tacking this one on. A new record for goals in a Big Ten tournament game provided by Penn State, 19. Ben Johnson, the freshman from Peoria, Illinois, in goal now for
Nittany Lions. It'll be really, really good. And Georgetown knocks off Providence in overtime in the Big Ten semifinals. So the Friars won't be stealing a bid from anyone in the NCAA tournament. Georgetown continues to strengthen their at-large resume should they not be able to knock off, surprisingly, Villanova beating Denver in that other Big East semi.